Doc Martinez here, and thank you for joining me on another journey down the old-fashioned rabbit hole. We will continue with the Bourbon Trail series with the next stop being Rabbit Hole Distillery. Rabbit Hole founder Kaveh Zamanian, driven by his desire to put Rabbit Hole at the forefront of American spirits category, he put everything on the line to start a spirit brand that would do just that. He entrenched himself in his work and study of bourbon in the pursuit of starting his own distillery, a place where he could create something new, something personal, a modern whiskey that could challenge the status quo and offer a new vision of what authentic whiskey could be. Cocktail quiz time! Where must bourbon be made to be considered certified bourbon? You may be surprised by the answer. So find what you love and go all in, because destiny is a choice, and when you decide to jump in, there's no going back. While having the pleasure of visiting the Rabbit Hole Distillery, my family and I sampled some of their products. They are kind enough to offer everyone a free 1-ounce sample of their whiskeys. I picked up a bottle of the Dareringer Straight Bourbon Whiskey finished in PX Sherry Casks. It was inspired by the founder's wife Heather. Dareringer is perfectly sweet with a kiss of spice, with a nose of sherry and cherry, flavors of raisins, currants, and hints of almonds and vanilla. The bourbon is finished in Pedro Jimenez's sherry cask brought in from Spain, no chill filtration, and bottled at 93 proof, making it an award-winning sherry cask finished bourbon. Now, Rabbit Hole has their own online recipe for an old-fashioned, and I'll leave a link for that below. But today, we're going to make my inspired version of a Rabbit Hole old-fashioned, taking inspiration from the bourbon, the distillery, and of course my family. I have decided to use the Dareringer Straight Bourbon Whiskey finished in PX Sherry Cask, making a simple old-fashioned that will enhance the flavor of the sherry and the bourbon alike. So let's make a Rabbit Hole Dareringer Old-Fashioned. Rabbit Hole Dareringer Old-Fashioned ingredients: 1 teaspoon of smoked bourbon sugar, 2 ounces of Rabbit Hole Dareringer, 2 dashes of black walnut bitters, 1 whole nutmeg. Making Rabbit Hole Dareringer Old-Fashioned. In a rocks glass, add the smoked bourbon sugar and add 2 dashes of black walnut bitters. Muddle it a little bit. Now, pour in 2 ounces of Rabbit Hole Dareringer Straight Bourbon Whiskey finished in PX Sherry Cask. Drop in large ice and stir gently. Garnish with fresh grated nutmeg and enjoy. Cocktail quiz time. Where must bourbon be made to be considered certified bourbon? Answer: the Kentucky Bourbon Trail is arguably America's most famous concentration of distilleries. However, the liquor need only be made within the US to be certified as bourbon. Fun fact, today more than 90% of all bourbon is produced in Kentucky, and it makes up for more than 2/3 of the country's exported distilled spirits. So let's get to tasting the Rabbit Hole Dareringer Old-Fashioned. Alright, so here we have it. The Rabbit Hole finished in PX Sherry Cask Old-Fashioned. Now, you probably were wondering, why did I add nutmeg to the top? Well, in my research I found that sherry mixes well with nuts, nutmeg being one of them. It is also why I use the black walnut bitters in this. So let's give this a try. Okay, now, for being only, I believe it's 93 proof? Yeah, for being only 93 proof, there is a lot of alcohol forwardness in this. It does coat the tongue nicely, goes towards the back, start tasting a little bit of that sherry, and at the end, perfect with a little bit of nut at the end. So, it is a good balanced drink, a little bit alcohol forward. So if you're not really into the alcohol forward type, this might not be the one for you. But this is actually a very good one. It reminds me a little bit of Christmas. Having that little bit of nutmeg at the end kind of reminds me of Christmas. So here we are, Christmas in July. My wife would love that. So I forgot to mention, a lot of the sugar is still at the bottom, hasn't fully dissolved, and that's I think why a lot of bartenders prefer to use a simple syrup, because it mixes better with it. But I think that's actually going to do this one a benefit, because as I said, it's a little bit alcohol forward. But I think as you start drinking more and more of it, you're going to get that sweetness at the end. So that's actually might benefit the drink, that you start off a little bit alcohol forward, and by the end of it's a nice sweet drink with a little bit of nuttiness in it. If you're liking these videos, please subscribe and click on the next video. To the next journey down a rabbit hole, cheers.